Welcome back. This is Russ, the author of The Estate, and we're ready to go into Chapter 6. We got done with Chapter 5, and I'll give you a little bit recap. Chapter 5 is where we get introduced to Ruby. She's a local girl. She has knocked on the door, and it's amazingly, she needs work for the summer. Amazingly, Anna needs someone to help her because she can't move around in a wheelchair. She needs someone to help her. And Anna likes Ruby. She's a nice girl, but there's something odd about her. You'll find out more later. So get comfortable, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get started. Chapter 6, The Rifle. Anna knew absolutely nothing about guns, especially an antique rifle. Ruby gently lifted it from the hidden cabinet and placed it on the table between them. They exchanged curious glances before Anna broke the silence. "Ruby, do you know anything about guns?" Ruby shook her head. "No, I've never even held one until today." Anna picked up the rifle, surprised how light it felt. The gun was in remarkable condition, its dark walnut stock smooth and well preserved. As she turned it over, she noticed an inscription, the initials MS. The only MS on the family chart was Miriam Sumner. Could she have been a markswoman? Anna's progress of recording and cataloging each item required extensive internet searches. Surprisingly, Ruby was no help with the computer. The laptop seemed as foreign to her as the rifle they found. Ruby didn't even own a cell phone. Anna shrugged. Not every young person is chained to the internet, she mused. She was grateful that Ruby could do the physical tasks she couldn't manage. The gun turned out to be a Winchester model 1973, one of the earliest repeating rifles. It was in service from 1866 to 1945 and was known as the gun that won the West. Well, that's cool, Anna thought. She wondered why it was hidden. She also decided that this old girl needed to be in a display case in full view. Anna was not a gun person, although her dad had encouraged her to have a gun in the house in case of an intruder. He was extremely protective of her, as most dads are. In the fight or flight response to danger, flight was her only option now. In any case, she didn't want to have a gun, but as fate would have it, now she was a gun owner. The rifle was an interesting find. Anna was excited about what else she might discover. In one of the closets, they found a chest filled with framed family pictures. Ruby dragged it out, revealing mostly sepia-toned photographs from an era when such images were common. Some depicted children, others elderly adults, horses, and a couple of dogs. None of the pictures had labels indicating who was featured. Anna expressed her desire to identify every single photo, letting out a sigh at the daunting task ahead. Ruby mentioned a local historian who might be a valuable resource, and Anna made a mental note to contact them. Ruby pulled out the pictures one at a time, and she suddenly let out a gasp. "What do you see, Ruby?" Anna asked excitedly. Ruby turned the picture she was holding toward Anna. "It's her. It's Miriam Sumner." The woman in the picture was holding a Winchester in one hand and a medal in the other. Had to be her. Miriam Sumner was standing next to, presumably, her father, James, in front of the fireplace. By comparison, she seemed to be a tall woman. Miriam had dark, wavy hair that was pulled back. She was wearing what looked like a hunting jacket. The look on her face was one of accomplishment and pride. Her father was absolutely beaming. It's amazing what you can tell about a person from one picture, Anna thought to herself. She was certainly confident. Anna had always pictured herself that way before the accident. She let out a deep sigh. "Stay positive, Anna," she reminded herself. "No dark thoughts." Anna and Ruby cleaned up the dusty pictures and paused for a cup of tea in the kitchen. Anna asked Ruby why she reacted so strongly when she found Miriam's picture, and Ruby just shrugged. And she reminded me of someone I didn't like, that's all. I don't want to talk about it, but that's okay. Sure, no problem, Ruby, Anna said softly. Still, Anna noticed Ruby's demeanor change a bit. She was almost seemed sad. Hey, let's stop for a day. We can start up again in the morning, she suggested, and Ruby complied. The estate was quiet for the rest of the afternoon, and Anna went out on the back patio to spend some time with nature. The air was clean and crisp, and the sun was starting to melt behind the pine trees. She loved afternoons there. It was so peaceful, and when it got dark, she came back inside, poured herself a glass of Merlot, and had a light supper. She couldn't get Miriam Sumner out of her head. What's the deal with that lady, and what's with the gun? Anna was tired and rode the lift upstairs to read a bit before bed. A little later, she sent a cryptic text to Roger. Love you, going to sleep, super tired, great day, talk tomorrow. She commanded Alexa to turn off the light, and she was soon sleeping soundly. An hour or so later, Anna was startled by a woman speaking. Someone was in her room with her. Someone was sitting in front of the vanity, looking into the mirror and speaking to herself. Who's there? Anna yelled, but the lady didn't hear or notice her. The face in the mirror was the face of Miriam Sumner, with wavy hair and stern features. Anna tried to get out of bed, but she could not. Some things were blurry in the room, and other things were vivid. She was dreaming. Miriam was angry about something, but Anna couldn't hear exactly what she was saying. Anna called out, Miriam! And the woman looked over at her as if she had been discovered, and then disappeared. The next day, Anna researched the history of the shooting tournaments in the area. Surprisingly, there was a fair amount of information. Bingo! In 1938, Miriam Sumner was the winner of a small bore rifle tournament. The runner-up was a man named Roland Autry. This was a start. It was so exciting, and local records showed several people with the last name Autry living in the area. She immediately sent a text to Roger. Put on your Sherlock Holmes hat. We have our first investigation, LOL. After a few phone calls, Anna located a woman named Jessica, who said she was the granddaughter of Roland Autry. She seemed sweet until Anna explained that she was the new owner of the Sumner house, and she was doing some research. Sumner? That's a bad family, she replied. Sorry to hear that, Anna answered. I'm not a family member myself. I'm just interested in documenting the history of the estate. Can I interview you about them? The woman agreed to meet, and a meeting was set for Saturday. Roger would take her there. Anna asked Ruby if she'd like to join, but she declined. It was disappointing because Anna was looking forward to having Roger meet Ruby at some point. She told him about her endlessly. When Anna and Roger arrived at the woman's house, she was sitting on the front porch. They found her to be somewhat gracious despite her dislikes for the Sumners. Anna shared her limited information about Roland and the shooting tournament. Jessica was more than willing to supply additional details. When she began, Anna took notes. I never knew my grandfather Roland because he died when I was young. However, the story of how the Sumners screwed Grandpa Roland over has been a hot topic in my family for years. Do you want some background, or should I go right to the tournament? Background, both Anna and Roger said at the same time. Anna glanced at Roger as if to say, let me lead. He got it. Jessica continued. This is a story that has been in my family for generations. Hopefully, it is close to the truth. Miriam was an only child, and her father James spoiled her rotten. And according to my family, she became rotten. Miriam revered her dad and would do anything to please him. My grandfather was one of James's best friends. He was a good man and regular hunting partner. Unfortunately, Miriam was not quite like her dad. She was not doing anything at all to get She was not above doing anything at all to get what she wanted, and she was void of compassion and empathy. Her dad, James, was a crack marksman. He taught his daughter how to shoot. They practiced every day, and it got to the point where she was as good as him. They did trap shooting and stationary targets. My grandpa, Roland, was also an ace shooter. He won a small bore rifle tournament 5 times. His only loss was to Miriam, but he should have won that too. Why didn't he win? Anna asked. Jessica responded, he had a weakness. It was for young, pretty girls. Yes, I know, that's disturbing. Miriam was 18 at the time, and Roland was near 50. Times were different then. The marrying age was 16 too. Gross, right? Well, Roland had a thing for Miriam and was stupid enough to think that he had an opportunity with her. The tournament did not allow women to compete, but Miriam's rich dad paid off the tournament committee. Like I said, things were different then. Prior to the competition, Miriam had some sort of tryst with Roland, or at least a flirtation. She also told him about the land across the street from the Sumner house and promised him that her dad would sell it to him at a bargain price. Roland was thrilled. There was no question. Miriam was talented with the rifle. After 2 rounds, both she and Roland were in the finals. They tied in the stationary target and went to the skeet shooting. Roland had it in the bag, but Miriam was formidable. Miriam hit 4 clay pigeons in the trap shooting, but missed the last one. Roland hit the first 4, and one more hit would make him the champion. The crowd was expecting him to win, like he did in previous years. An 18-year-old girl was not about to unseat him. What the crowd didn't know was the spell that Miriam had on him. Rumor has it that before his final shot, Miriam gave him a long glance and a wink. I'm sure the land offer was also on the balance for Roland. The catapult was ready. Roland called pull and took his final shot. He missed. Miriam won the tournament. Anna and Roger were at the edge of the seats when Jessica paused the story. Wow, said Anna. What a remarkable story. Could it be that he just missed and not on purpose? No, Jessica added. He was already telling people about his new property. We all think he lost on purpose, but that's not the worst part. A week later, Roland came by the Sumner house. He had flowers in his hand to give to Miriam to congratulate her on her victory, but she was nowhere to be found. James initially thought that Roland was there to see his daughter, but Roland said he was there to see him. Roland told James that he knew about the parcel of land across the road that James was looking to get rid of. He told him he was ready to buy it, that he sold a couple of horses and got a loan from the bank. He added that Miriam promised he would get it for a fair price. As the story goes, James was completely puzzled, and he responded, I'm sorry, Ronald. I don't even know where you got your information. That property is not even mine.